What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today, as always. It's never a dull day with Manchester United, is it? So yeah, INEOS decision time. They are talking to replacements, which I am very sceptical about. It's been dragging on for too long. I'm going to get into the kind of the nuts and crannies of it and all the details and where we are currently up to right now. We've had reports from Romano. We've had reports from a couple of other journalists. And yeah, it's kind of dragging at the moment, so I definitely want to get into that and discuss the possibilities of in terms of the timeline and replacements and stuff. We also have some new centre-back targets which I want to get into. I think this list now is slowly becoming longer and longer and longer and longer, 15, 20, 25, 30 centre-backs. But again, I'm happy to talk about the player in question because I actually don't mind him. Kobbie Mainoohas done an interview with a fashion magazine, I believe. There's a couple of interesting quotes about that, about his start to life at Manchester United, where he believes he can go, what his ambitions are, and a couple of other little gems in that interview as well. So we'll discuss that. And also, as well, I want to do a live Q&A. So we're going to leave that kind of space open towards the end of the show. If there's anything you personally want to discuss, because it's not just my show, it's your show as well, then do leave it in the comments and we'll get into it towards the end. And, you know, whatever it is, football, it could be Mbappe to Madrid, it could be, yeah, whatever, like I said, you want to talk about, we'll talk about. Don't worry about that. So, basically, what sparked this story off? Why have we gone live with INEOS decision time, INEOS speaking to replacements? Well, it's because Fabrizio Romano has said on his YouTube channel that in the last 3 to 4 days, Manchester United have made contact with agents of other managers to make sure they have those options if they decide to sack Ten Hag. I mean, that is the most. Imagine hearing that if you're Erik Ten Hag. Imagine being sat on holiday and you're watching. I doubt he watches Romano on YouTube or whatever, but just imagine being sat there and you hear that kind of nonsense coming out, and you're like, "Well, I'm gone out." Do you know what I mean? If any kind of workplace you want to think about, if you work at a restaurant or you work at a bar, you know, or you work in an office or wherever it is, and you text your boss and you go, "Yeah, boss, what's going on here, mate?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're just speaking to other people for your job just in case we get rid of you." And you're like, "Hang on a minute, in case what?" Like they should have already committed. If it wasn't going to happen, if he was going to keep him, they should have already made that decision now and come out with it. I think obviously because the FA Cup final, the emotion that's tied to it. At the height of that, they definitely didn't want to pull the trigger. And this isn't new ground. We've been over this before. I actually think it's proper disrespectful to have this going on. It's fucking ridiculous. You know, whilst the manager sat there, I mean, I've said this before as well. How can you even enjoy your holiday if all this speculation's ongoing? You don't know where your next destination is going to be. And also, has Ten Hag spoke to other clubs? You know, because Bayern Munich was sniffing around him, weren't they? And then he turned around and was like, "No, I'm going to be loyal to the soil. I want to stay with United." And yeah, that's me basically. So no, thank you for the interest, but you know, I've got a project here. It's been a tough season, but I want to work through the mud. I believe we've got some diamonds in the rough. We've just won a trophy, a second trophy in second season, by the way. I want to go into next season, and I'm fulfilled with, you know, I'm motivated, and I believe we get the best out of it. Whilst INEOS is sat there texting Poch, Tuchel and Thomas Frank's agent saying, "Yeah, we're going to pull the trigger. We can't do it now because the FA Cup final, you know, everyone's buzzing. There's an emotional connection there. We can't pull the trigger now. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait 2 weeks probably. We're going to get the feelers out, see who's interested. McKenna's gone now, so we can't go for him. So we're going to talk to Poch. We're going to talk to Tuchel. We're going to talk to Thomas Frank. And we're going to get aligned with our views and see what they want and where they're at as coaches at the moment and if they are interested to take over as just a pure coach whilst we run everything else upstairs." It's been lingering for weeks now. The transfer window opens in less than 2 weeks. It's the 3rd of June today. The transfer window opens in 11 days. How can you bring players in or even sell players if none of them know who the manager's going to be? And I doubt they've told them internally, otherwise it would have leaked out by now. You know what our players are like. So, what's going on? I'm sorry, I don't want to swear, but make a fucking decision. Please make a fucking decision. Because we're all sat here as fans. We're in limbo. Ten Hag's in limbo. You know, this is supposed to be a new regime who's proactive and they make the correct decision. And they're like, well, we don't want to be rushed. And it was like, well, to be honest, this decision should have been made already. You know, what are you going to do? You're going to wait another week and then the transfer window opens and then you're going to be, you know, if it's that case and it's Glazers 2.0, you're becoming a reactionary club rather than a proactive club, aren't you? In that sense. I honestly, I legit think it's fucking disgraceful. Don123 saying Ratcliffe worse than the Glazers. He's a disgrace. He's not started off great, has he? He's not started off great. His history, Mbappe's conquered Europe. Football is finished. Mainoo. Let's see what everyone's saying in YouTube. How do we feel about this managerial situation? Because it really is a merry-go-round, and it's absolutely absurd. What the hell is going on, says Richard. Even if you were not a football fan, what way is this for any big company to treat a member of staff, especially someone who just won a second trophy in a second consecutive season? Dan Errington saying, I think unfortunately they're going to let Ten Hag go, so again, this building process will start again from the beginning. That's my worry, Dan, because how many times have we been through the ringer with managers where you get that second season syndrome at United, don't you, where, first season, jubilation, so much potential, everyone's happy, we're working towards something. Finally, a manager who can play this kind of football. Ollie brought back the good times. Jose Mourinho's a pure winner. Erik Ten Hag, what he's done at Ajax is fantastic, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like second season, oh, they're going to let him go again. Oh, right, okay. Right, we're going to bring a new manager in. Believe in this project. It's a new umbrella. It's a new system we've got going on here now. It's like, okay, it's hard to sell patience to United fans if you look at the past decade, what we've been through, because it's been 6 different managers, it's been 6 different philosophies, and 6 different reasons why we should believe in this manager. And I'm sorry, I've got to a point now where I'm just like, I just want to be back to the top of European football competing. I'm watching Real Madrid win the Champions League, and then the next day basically announced that they're signing one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world, who's going to be alongside a Ballon d'Or winner. And we're sat here saying our fucking budget's going to be 35 million quid or whatever it is, which, believe it or not, it's probably not. But you get my point. Like, we are absolutely miles apart. And INEOS dragging this decision at the moment isn't helping anyone. It's not helping anyone at all. I get they don't want to rush it. I get they want to take time with it, but you could have done that in May. You've had, months and months and months to assess this man since you originally came in. It got officially announced on, what was it, the 24th of December, Christmas Eve or whatever it was. You've had a long time to think about this. How much more time do you need to make a decision? That's why I'm saying I personally believe they wanted to get rid of him. That win has just set him back. They're like, we cannot announce this now. Not a chance can we announce this now. And they're waiting to pull the trigger, and I believe the trigger will be pulled this week. I'm telling you. So out of the options, I put a poll up for you there. Gun to your head, which manager would you take? 64%, this is a landslide. 64% have gone for Tuchel. No one's gone for Thomas Frank, of course. 7% for Poch and 29% for De Zerbi. So Tuchel is the landslide winner there. And you know what? That kind of fits in because I think he's going to be the next United manager. I'll say it right now. I think he's going to be the next Man United manager. I do. INEOS make hand wash. That says it all. So random. Late to the transfer party as usual, says Steve-O. Yeah, and this is supposed to be a new... look, I'm not being too judgmental because we'll see what happens within the next couple of weeks. I mean, it really could speed up. We could sign Elise and Brandthwaite in the first week and have about 3 or 4 signings on pre-season. So it's early to judge. I'm not judging them just yet, but it's certainly not a good start, at least in my opinion. Neo saying, in my life, I've never seen a club doing a review after a year, giving out leaks and not sacking the manager a week ago. For me, I feel like they don't want to use money this summer. Richard saying, I'm now genuinely worried they're waiting on the sleeping pill, i.e. Gareth Southgate. Well, the thing is with Southgate, though, how can you wait for Southgate? He's in a tournament with England. What if England get to the finals? What if England win it? Is he going to turn around and go, yeah, I'll still join? And also, more to the point, what the fuck has Gareth Southgate won? What's he won? People will bring in the England job and they'll say, oh, he's done great there. He's got everyone to get along. Everyone's having biscuits and brews and they're all having a laugh and blah, blah, blah. Is that trophies? No, it's not. He might do a fantastic job with the dressing room. He might be the next stepping stone to get us 5th, 6th or whatever. Is he the man that we need right now coming in? No, is he fuck? Is he fuck? So, you want to wait for Southgate? I mean, that would, for me, I mean, it would deflate me so much. Don't worry. Imagine trying to sell that. Don't worry. We're getting rid of Erik ten Hag, who's won 2 trophies in 2 seasons. Yeah, it's been a difficult season. We take that point. But don't worry, everyone. We're getting Gareth Southgate as our next manager. Absolute silence in the room. Silence. I don't get it. I don't get it. I feel like I'm going mad here. I don't understand it. INEOS does work on their own time, not the fans' time, but it does sound like he is done. I think he's done. He's a dead man walking. And that FA Cup win just bought him a little bit of time. Charlie's saying it'll take 3 to 5 years until we compete against the best again. And that's at a push. We was, I don't know, what we finished 35 points behind the leaders, City, in the league. Something ridiculous. Poch showed with Chelsea he can develop young players. Cole Palmer. Yeah, I don't mind Poch. But is he better than Ten Hag? Ten Hag's won more than him. And please don't come out with the French league. Please do not come out with the French league. Anyone can win that league, honestly. If you've got a team like PSG, you look at the rest of the squads that are there who have like a budget of, £11.20. It's one of them. Ten Hag has proven more, in my opinion, than Poch has. I don't think there's any better options. Tuchel, maybe we can have a discussion. But Tuchel is a ruthless manager, and is he going to fit in with the regime under INEOS? I think he'll clash with him. Mega. I think it might be great as soon as he comes in. Defensively will look sound. He might pull performances out of certain players that you don't expect. And then as soon, give it a year, give it 6 months. As soon as shit goes tits up, it's flipped over again, back on its head, and we're talking about the next manager. Oh, Southgate's done now. We can go and get him. The bottom line is the Glazers still own the club. Let's not be fooled by all this nonsense, says Don123. Rash says stick with Ten Hag. The other managers are not good. Richard saying 17 watching, please hit the like button. Yeah, please do if you can. I appreciate that, Richard. Smash a like on the video if you are equally as pissed off about this INEOS situation that I am, and also hit that subscribe button if you can as well. I think we are 25 subs off 5,300, so if you are new to the channel, would really appreciate that. You absolute set of legends. Abibi Deliso says yes, I want Thomas Tuchel to United. He's better. I also want João Felix and Theo Hernandez, Todibo, Benzema, Elise, so basically half the French team, Antonio Silva. That's a very expensive sum, my friend. My Damned United says, I back these words. They've now ruined our FA Cup win and are giving me glazer nightmares. No communication, no understanding of the club, stalling decisions, for fuck's sake. And Dan saying I'd go for the fella from Sporting. I'm going to talk about that. Oh, Ruben Amorim, you on about the manager. I thought he was on about a certain player who I'm going to discuss in a minute. Southgate won a runners-up medal. Oh, great, then get him in. Yeah, fantastic. INEOS, please, for the love of God, make a fucking decision and just, either put us out of our misery or back him. Sack him or back him. Everyone's fed up now. We want the situation done with. Sick of hearing speculation about it and a new story every single day. And I'm sure, even when I was doing the thumbnail and the title for the show, I was even sat there like, I don't want to peck people's head with this, but this is the latest development. This is as much as you're going to get from the story. So we had to kick things off with that because it's just been frustrating the life out of me. If you are on TikTok right now, do drop us a follow. Click the link in the description if you want to hit us up on YouTube as well. We're live on both platforms at the moment. And then we're going to do a live Q&A towards the end. So if there's any kind of topics that you want to discuss get them in towards the end and we'll definitely discuss them. Now, speaking of targets in the summer and players and individuals and stuff, we have a couple of new centre-back targets. And again, this is coming from Fabrizio Romano, who seems to be the only journalist who's working today. As soon as the manager position is clarified, Manchester United will move for a new right-footed centre-back. We all know Bram Flakes is left-footed, so it's probably alluding to someone like a Todibo and a couple of others. United are also actively working on the possibility of bringing in a left-footed centre-back too. One of the players the club appreciate and have been scouting is Sporting's Gonçalo Inácio, who has a release clause of around £51 million. Now, we all know Tosin Adarabioyo is off the table because Chelsea are going to go and sign him. If we drag our feet any longer with all these decisions that need to be made, I'm going to nasally now. All the decisions that need to be made, Todibo will probably end up going Spurs. They'll probably nick him up, so he's gone. And then Everton will probably put the price up with Braithwaite to 70 million quid, where we sat there trying to haggle and get a price down by like 3 million. That's the way I see it going at the moment. Whichever way you look at it, 100 million quid is going to be spent on 2 centre-backs, right? Never mind a midfielder, a striker, a winger, and a wing back. And I know I sound like a broken record. I really, really do. And I know I've said this so many times. But where is the budget? Please tell me where this budget is coming from. You know, maybe they think, oh, we're going to sell these players. Look how many players we've got. You know, we've got to make at least 200 million quid off sales. And they're like, yeah, this is United, mate. We don't typically do that. So we'll see how well we sell. Stylistically, when I'm talking about a pure centre-back that I want, whether it's the left-sided one or the right-sided one, and I look at what we lack in the team, I want someone who's quick, strong, good on the ball, 1v1, has composure to deal with chaos and pressure, and someone who's at a good age profile. Now, that sounds like the perfect centre-back, doesn't it? It's like, oh, you're taking everything off your list. It's like saying I want a girlfriend who's, you know, a size 10 waist, she's got double Ds, she's got junk in the trunk. Do you know what I'm saying? You're just ticking everything off. But I'm saying, in today's climate in the Premier League, you look at the top centre-backs who are performing, your Salibas, Van der Vens, Van Dijks, tall, quick, strong, fantastic on the ball, and have, you know, composure and abundance. And that wasn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, that wasn't a euphemism because I said abundance and bunda with the girl analogy that I was using. You take my point. So yeah, that type of centre, someone like a Gavadio, let's say, for example, I would want. Someone's mentioned Euro there. Kyle mentioned Euro in the chat. Top player, especially if the price, you know, if they're quoting 30-40 million for Lenny Euro, absolutely snipe that up 100%. But the question back, I'm going centre back there, and the question there's two things. The centre-back in question, Gonzalo Inacio, from what I have seen, and again, I haven't watched many games. I've probably watched a handful of sporting games. So I haven't seen a lot of him. And maybe, you know, them games that you watch are just where he performs the best. I have no idea. But from what I've seen of him, solid defender, good in his duels, decent when pulled wide. He's a pretty good box defender, not top class, but decent. You know, he's not a Varane, but he's pretty good. But it's when you watch him in possession, that's where it's like high level. One of the top 5 centre-backs in Europe in terms of on the ball. He's fantastic. Would he be my first option? Absolutely not. Would him and Lissandro have a field day on the ball, receiving it in tight areas, playing through the lines? Yeah, 100%. But Gonzalo Inacio wouldn't be my personal first choice. I actually like Diamonde at Sporting, to be honest with you. I think he would be a better fit. I'm not sure price-wise how much he's going for. I mean, the prices being quoted out of Portugal nowadays are just like absolutely bananas, aren't they? But yeah, I've always said Todibo or Branflakes is my kind of option that I'd go for. And I think they will go for Todibo, looking at the budget and price-wise. I think they'll take a gamble on that. I've seen reports today about Saudi bidding Casemiro 90 million to 100 million euros. Yeah, I won't believe that. We spoke about it in the afternoon show. It's nonsense, that. Not a chance. You know, I think the Premier League actually tested Saudi on like proof of payments and certain things. And when they bought St. Maximum, I think it was, from Newcastle for like 26 million quid, and they put him on like 400k a week, and they was testing, doing certain things on that, where it's like making sure everything's legit and, you know, all that kind of nonsense. So yeah, 90 million. If we got 90 million euros for Casemiro, I'm not even saying 90 million quid. If we got 90 million euros for Casemiro, I'd do 10 shots on a live. I'd do 10 Jaeger bombs in a row on a live, because it ain't happening. Not happening. Not a chance. But the centre-back targets is very interesting. Are Everton going to be stubborn with Jared Branflakes? Are we going to try and push for Todibo? Will Todibo be a success? Is it a bit of a risk? Or will we go for a younger profile in Lenny Yoro? Do we need someone more experienced as well on top of that? I think that the combination that they're going to go for is interesting. And obviously that free option in tossing Adarabioyo has gone now because Chelsea have jumped on it like Chelsea do with every... I swear, Chelsea's transfer policy... I'm sorry, I'm going on a bit of a rant here. But Chelsea's transfer policy is quite literally... anyone who's interested in any player who's a half decent and everyone's talking about, like the trend signing, for example, it's like Todd Bowley's on his phone, and we know he goes on Twitter because he's literally been in Spaces before. It's like Todd Bowley goes on his phone and he goes, oh, he looks all right, doesn't he? Reads a couple of scout reports, you know, does his due diligence in that sense. Yeah, we could offer more money than that. Yeah, let's go for him. Drops a little text to his chief scout and his sporting director and says, I like this player, let's go and get him. I feel like they do that with every single player. But yeah, that's Chelsea for you. Is Bruno staying? Well, his agents, again, I've spoken about this as well. His agents are putting the feelers out to Barcelona, to Bayern Munich, I think just to put pressure on the club, basically, for a new contract. So I think that's the situation that's going on there. Some new names in the chat. Please do hit that subscribe button if you can. I was just, believe it or not, from the afternoon show today up until now, between that period, I've just been editing the members video. So I quite literally, since from the moment I woke up to now, it has just been live show, editing, shorts, live show, editing. Yeah, I've been relatively busy today. But for all the members in the chat, that video is going to drop soon, maybe the next couple of days. Sam Metcalf says, what is the decision? Well, they're talking to replacements, so take that in, as you will. It's obvious to me what the decision is. One side saying Ten Hag is far better than Poch. Well, he's proven it, hasn't he? I think. Septimo Lion says, Amorim is my first choice. I haven't seen enough of Amorim, to be honest with you. I think he's got the character. The football he plays at Sporting, again, from bits I've seen, I was talking about Inacio before, I like. But again, does it always translate to the Premier League? That's a bit of a risk in itself. I'd take a packet of quavers for Casemiro. How they're possibly giving 90 million for him is ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. We're not getting 90 million. Listen, I'm telling you now, we are not getting 90 million euros, pounds, rupees, whatever you want to talk for Casemiro. It's not happening. It'll be 20 to 30 mil max right now. And then they'll give him a big fucking wage on top of that. They're paying Jordan Henderson 700 grand a week. Sadio Mane's on like 650 grand a week. They'll pay him the big bucks. But in terms of a transfer fee, you ain't getting anywhere near that. Not a chance. Not a chance. And like I said, I will happily do 10 shots on a live if that happens. If we get breaking news tomorrow, Fabrizio Romano, here we go, Casemiro to Al Nassr for 90 million euros, my mind would be absolutely blown. Legit. It would be absolutely blown. Ruben Amorim still in contact, no sack or expired contract. I don't know if you meant that to Ryan, but you're a reporter and you don't know it. And Dan saying Amorim plays fast-paced attacking football, very similar to Klopp. Yeah, look, it's hard for me to give an opinion. I'll always be honest. If I know the player and I know the person, I'll always give a strong opinion on it. But Amorim, sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, I haven't seen enough of him. But yeah, anyway, from Amorim to Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo's done an interview with Dazed Fashion Magazine, I think it is. I've never heard of it personally before. Some pretty cool shots in there, to be honest with you. Looks pretty stylish, looks pretty suave. I mean, for a 19-year-old kid, he is just a glass of wine on the pitch, and he really is just, he's mustard, mate, Kobbie Mainoo. But yeah, there's a couple of interesting bits in there, little gems that I wanna discuss. So on his debut, starting versus Everton in November, he said, I knew it was a big chance and not many of them come around, I knew I had to come and make an impression and show myself on the pitch. It's a great feeling. It's rare when you see debuts like his. It just looks unfazed. And I think if you followed Kobbie, through his academy journey, he's always played like that. Nothing ever phases him. And that's why when I speak about England and I speak about, everyone's saying don't put pressure on the kid and don't do this and don't do that. This kid can handle it. He can handle anything that's thrown at him. He's so mature. He plays like he's got 500 caps under his belt. So he doesn't worry him in that sense whatsoever. And the first couple of weeks, he really took to the pitch and instantly became a starter for us, which is very, very rare, especially at Manchester United. He also got asked, sometimes do you pinch yourself, basically, how kind of meteoric the rise has been. He says, sometimes I sit down and get these moments where I'm like, 2 years ago, you were on my FIFA team and now I'm playing with you and arguing with you on the pitch. So in that sense, it's crazy. And yeah, I think people forget that, don't they? 19-year-old kid. Can anyone else remember what they was doing at 19? I bet there's some explicit answers in there. So if there is, don't get them in the comments. Or maybe do, but maybe put some stars in front of them or whatever. But, 19 is like, you've got the world at your feet in it. And for him, if you would have told him before November, you're going to end the season, scoring against Liverpool, scoring against Man City, scoring the winner against Wolves in a very decisive game, being pretty consistent and one of the top players at the club, one of the players of the season, or at least in that bracket, and then you're going to be picked by Gareth Southgate, you're going to be going to the Euros, and you're going to be starting in the team. If you would have said that to him before November, he would have been like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? And here he is. He also got asked best advice. What's the best advice you've received? He said, Rafael Varane told me one thing, which was great advice. The best investment you make is investing in your body. Obviously, as a footballer, your body is your instrument. It's what you use. So I took that on board. LeBron James does the same thing. Conor McGregor does a similar thing as well. Although a big portion of his money is put aside for certain narcotics and certain alcohol. But he does, in a sense, like pay a lot of money for like fitness and rehab and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is a no-brainer in that sense. But having players like that's really important. Varane just seems like a perfect professional, honestly, and he also seems like someone who's very level-headed, never gets over emotional, or never gets too angry, never gets too happy. He's very level-headed, Rafael Varane. And I think he's kind of a perfect figurehead to speak to, especially with everything he's won in the game. And the guy's won everything. And he said, like, legacy, what do you want for your legacy, Kobbie? He says, I want to be known as a great football player, great person, and I want people to respect my game. Now, wait for this quote, not quote, but wait for this comment on Kobbie. Comment on Kobbie. Hear me out, if he continues on the path and turns out to be the player that we think he is, you see comments from Paul Scholes, for example, saying, I was nowhere near the level he was at 19 years old. If he gets better and better, he could go down as one of England's best players. That's a big shout. I understand. It's people might say it's putting pressure on him. Rival fans will tell you, shut up. He's played fucking 6 months of football. What are you talking about? If you know him, like we know him, and watched him like we've watched him, if he continues, if is a big word because players can pick up injuries, anything can happen. If he continues on this trajectory, he will be one of England's best players. I'm telling you right now. In 10 years' time, when you fast forward, especially if we start winning things as well with the team that we've got, he will be looked back at as the kind of individual. Look, Bellingham and Foden are the headline players. There's no disputing that, right? But what Mainoo brings, he brings a quality to that midfield that no one else has. No one else. We don't produce players like that. Spain produce them for fun. England don't. So that's just the thing I'll say on Kobbie, and I won't go too much deeper into that. Sorry, I'm going to read that comment. Jesus, Dan Errington, I can't read that out, but cheers, mate. Dino saying Mainoo is cooler than dry ice. At 19, I was working 12 shifts, 5-6 days a week, then hitting the town like a millionaire. And then you wake up in the morning, don't you, Dino? I remember doing that once, right? Just to go off on a little bit of a tangent. I remember doing that once. I just got paid. I was only working. I was like really young at the time, and I don't know how many hours I was working, but I got paid like 800 quid, right? And I thought it was loads of money. And I took like £300 out of Halifax, like cash thing, put it in my wallet, went to town, came back, and I swear to God, I don't know how it happened. I woke up and I had it just enough for a foot-long Subway in my bank. I was rough as fuck. I had like my shirt was half unbuttoned, and I woke up, I had drool, I had quazzle on my mouth, and I had the biggest headache ever. And I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, oh my God, I had like £10.23. I was starving as well. I don't think I'd eaten all day, so that's probably the big thing. But yeah, I had nothing left in my bank. It was absolutely crazy. 12-hour shifts. Martinez will leave too, says, I'm going to try and pronounce this name. I'm probably going to butcher it and get it wrong, but I'll try. I'll try for you. Nehemiah Fawol? Is that a good pronunciation? What are we saying? Henry's saying, why is Mainoo not in the England squad? He will be. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's just a friendly tonight. There's a couple that aren't in there. Kane isn't in there either. I don't think Saka is. Oh shit, I forgot to play actually. Yeah, so I'll blitz through the Q&A in a moment. I completely forgot England are playing. Sorry, people, if anyone gives a shit. My Damn United says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has clearly followed Chelsea far too much. If me thinks the manager merry-go-round is the United way, he'll be dead and buried before we win another title. Shit, man, this is depressing. Strong words from My Damn United. Well, this is how people feel. This is how people feel. You know what I'm saying? Makes sense. Almost every takeover does want their own guy. Yeah, we saw it. You know, we saw it coming, didn't we? Right, last 5 minutes. Live Q&A, TikTok, YouTube, go. Any questions? Nothing is off the table apart from stuff that maybe gets us cancelled. That's probably off the table. But apart from that, nothing else is off the table. You know, realistically. You want to talk about football, you want to talk about Mbappe, you want to talk about England, you want to talk about, I don't know, what kind of, flavorings you use on your chicken. Just absolutely go for it. It's an open floor for the next 5 minutes. It's your show. Take the floor and we'll discuss it. IBZ says, is Ten Hag sacked? No, but they are talking to replacements, which, you know, make of that what you will. If Erik Ten Hag goes, do you think Bruno will leave? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Do I think Bruno will leave? No. No, I don't think he will. Because I don't think it's more of a manager thing. I mean, he's played under like 3 different managers already. I don't think it's a manager thing. I think it's just the loyalty and a contract thing with Bruno. I think especially if he's spoken to the owners of INEOS and they've said, look, this is our plan. This is why we're bringing in this guy. This is this, blah, blah, blah. We want to bump your contract up. It's going to be incentive-based. If you win trophies, you get this amount, etc. I think he would sign the contract, in my opinion. D. Brown says, what do you think our budget will be? I think, roughly, typically, when we're out of Europe, we have a bigger budget. That kind of sounds like counterproductive, doesn't it? But when we finish in the top 4, we spend less. We spend like 80 to 100 million pound, notoriously. When we finish out of Europe, we spend around 100 to 150, I think. Maybe push it to 180. So, judging off that, I would probably say around 100 to 120 million. But we do need to sell well. We really, really need to sell well. Like, there's no 2 ways about it. You're going to have to sell Sancho, Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, and these kind of guys, get the wages off the bill as well if you want to get as many targets as we're discussing. Because we're talking like 6 targets, by the way. That 2 centre-backs, a left-back, a centre-to midfielder, a striker, and then a creative winger. Yeah, so you have to sell. So thank you for your question. Erik Ten Hag in. The disrespect against Erik Ten Hag from United management is horrible, says Julius. It's a very cool name. I can't read the second name. Caramira? No chance. Will we be going into the new season better than last season? I mean, if we're not Richard, we might as well pack up and all go home right now. We might as well get your bum bag, whatever it is. Get your little fanny pack. Get your backpack. Your brolly, your hat, whatever it is you got, and we might as well go home if it's going to be any worse than than this season. It can't be, surely. But a lot of people were saying that after the Ollie and Rangnick season was like, it cannot, like, we have hit rock bottom. And then you go, oh, actually, wait, we're going to finish 8th. But we still finished with a trophy, so that was like a little bit of a saviour. And that, of course, we're back in Europe as well. So I would like to think not, but would it surprise me? No, it wouldn't surprise me. Because this club never fails to surprise me. Never ever does. Anything's on the table with United at the minute. Dino saying, I think Bruno will go if Erik Ten Hag goes. The new manager will want the funds to revamp the squad, I think. My Damn United says £10.23. That's our summer transfer budget, mate. Love that. Yeah. Basically, they have got what I had after a night out in Deansgate with only wage blitzed. Kyle saying Elise or Nico Williams. Elise. I think Elise is a top player, man. You look at his stats as well. I know not everyone's stats people. He passes the eye test first and foremost, but stats-wise, you look at his creativity, he's one of the best in the league. You look at him from set pieces, dangerous, cutting in on the left, long shots, crosses into the box, dribbling, he's absolutely elite. You saw the difference, like with when Glasner came in, a lot of people talked about the tactics and the way he sets up, and that's absolutely fine. But having Eze back in your team and having Elise back in your team was a massive plus, because them two are just like, they are the jokers in the deck, the wild card that can just, turn a game on its head. St. Maximin was a similar kind of player for Newcastle. They can just destroy defenders. And Elise is, technically gifted, man. He's such a good player. And I think that's why there's such strong links with him. I think he's a top player. But I also think he's not what do you call it? He's not a priority, in my opinion. I love Ahmad. I would promote Ahmad personally. You've got Garnacho. Rashford's obviously going to stay at the club. And then you got Anthony. I mean, God knows what's going to happen with him. I'd probably sell him as well, but I think they'll struggle. Unless they want to sell him for like 20, 30 million quid. It just depends how ruthless they're going to be, doesn't it? It really, really does depend how ruthless they're going to be. what guest do you have lined up apart from James, mate? Is the legend Jay Motti coming back on? So, over the transfer window, I mean, Jay appears every now and then anyway, so that'll be like a continuous thing. And we get him on when like the time's right with that. We've got James from Muppeteers, who's going to be on the channel on the first day of the transfer window. So we're going to try to pick his brain about, you know, what's it going to look like, who are going to be the first targets realistically, etc., etc., etc. We was working. I don't want to say who it is. We have been working on a certain guest for a while who's one of my favourites, and I want to get on. I know Sam's been dying to get him on as well. Well, the timing just hasn't been right. So that's one I want to get done, but we'll just have to wait and see with that. And also, anyone else who people would like to see us collaborate with or other people on, you know, we'll drop them a message, we'll speak to them, and we'll see what's what. Everyone's been lovely, to be fair. We've had some really, really good guests on this channel, and we're lucky. You know, we're on 5,279 subs, but the guests we've had on, Jay from Paddock says it all the time, like, you've had Laurie Whitwell on when you had like 2,000 subscribers. How the fuck did you manage that? You had Kieran Maguire on, who's like a BBC finance specialist, and, you know, he's been on Sky Sports and done like loads of big shows. And loads of other guests, like there's a list that I can't remember after the ones on. But yeah, there are certainly others, and there's certain targets, if you will, that we wanna get on the show. And I think at the right time, it's all about timing. With the right time, and the right connections and stuff like that, it'll happen. It'll happen, but it just takes time. People are busy, man, especially journalists. Do you know what I mean? Richard saying, Nick, I know who would come on, and he speaks well. Andy Mitten. Listen, he has been one of the #1 targets. And actually, I think I know someone in his family. I was figuring this out the other day. Because he's from Urmston. I went to school in Urmston, and so did Sam. We want him on. But again, it's timing. It's asking at the right time. I know that guy's busy. He's travelling to India and South America and Spain. And, like, you know, he's doing proper journalism, which is one of the reasons why we want him on the channel. So, yeah, Andy Mitten is definitely a top-tier target. We've actually had a couple of interactions with him before. But yeah, we've got to get him on at the right time and for the right show. But he's absolutely, for sure, we want to get him on. I think that'd be a really interesting conversation because I could sit there and listen to him for an hour. I think he speaks so much sense. Dino, KG the comedian, he's great. You think he's great? Think you guys can cook? I was just about to sing then. He did that song, didn't he? He was like, ain't winning shit. You had it in your hands. Ain't winning shit. Yeah, I've actually met KG and Flex outside Old Trafford at the protest. Chatting to him for a while. I used to do lives with Flex as well when he used to be at United Stand, believe it or not. So that's what I'm saying. Like I've spoke to actually quite a lot of the people that are in the space. I don't know, but I've spoken to quite frequently. More than you know, actually, to be honest with you. So yeah, a guest is definitely a thing that me and Sam are looking at, and I think over the summer in particular, whilst there's no football on, is probably the best time, right? So yeah, be interesting to see. But I'll take in the suggestions and the recommendations, and we'll drop these guys a couple of messages and see if we can get them on, because I think them collaborations would be really, really interesting. And I just like chatting to people, interviewing people, picking people's brains who really in the know when it comes to United. Yeah, would love that. Anyway. I've been absolutely pecking your heads for too long. England are playing Bosnia, which is an absolute blockbuster of a time. I'm sure everybody's fascinated about. So I'll let you go and watch some football, because we have been deprived of it, haven't we? I suppose. Thank you very much for everyone for tuning in. I always say at the end of every stream, I don't care if I peck people's heads. I appreciate every single one of you. Legit. Honestly, really, really do. It's so nice to have some interaction, people tuning in. That every single live, you know, the members as well. Big up to you guys. And yeah, I don't think I can say much more than that. Let's just see what shit show England put on, and if it gives us any confidence ahead of the Euros. Again, we'll be back tomorrow, 12 o'clock. I have a feeling that a decision is imminent, and it's going to be very, very soon. I mean, it could even break tonight, to be honest with you. But I think in the next couple of days, it's going to. So turn on that notification bell. Hit that subscribe button. We're 20 off 5,300 if you're watching this later on, or if you're watching this live. Drop us a follow on socials. All your socials are at the top there. If you're on TikTok, you already know where it's at. Drop us a follow on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And I'll check you guys in the next one. See you in a bit, boys. And ladies, sorry as well, don't want to discriminate. And other people, safe.